instant payments, I think tech stack is our strategic tech stack. We've been building it out over a number of years, but one of the moves that we're going to do with our next kind of schema rollout, and we're kind of doing Pakistan, Vietnam, and then upgrading Euro as part of the legislations and looking at the US as well, will be to move on to the cloud. I think that's a kind of a journey I think every bank is probably going on. But I think in terms of, instant payments and all of the things we talked about in terms of speed and robustness and visibility, transparency, and that data element, which obviously is part of moving money and information across the globe, the data kind of secrecy and pieces come into play as well. So we are moving on to cloud at the moment. We're also, I think, streamlining a lot of the processes and also making them very much API enabled. I think that's a big one. It's for me, that instant nature has to have, embedded solutions with our clients in relation to really plugging back into their ERP systems and their kind of TMS systems and into their kind of, end-to-end workflows. Yeah, because it's not always an ERP or a TMS that is part of that payment workflow when you're talking about e-commerce. It's the procurement side and the logistics side of some of our clients as well. So I think that's also part of kind of the journey, and we're building out, and we've some clever solutions where, I would call it instant payments is kind of the key payment product, but then they're facilitated and kind of embedded into our clients through kind of connectivity under multiple APIs. And that, platforms are enabling our clients to do that, embedding into our merchant solutions offerings, embedding into our kind of contextual banking offerings to actually allow that to happen as well. On top of that, and I talk about security, and like I mentioned, security is a big part. I think that's another big piece of kind of our build out. We're building out our kind of our AML and our kind of monitoring side of our payments. There's a big change going on globally in relation to that. Also, our transaction monitoring and kind of filtering is also being upgraded in relation to being able to being able to process to the speed that is needed. I think we're going to be on a journey over the next few years in Europe, obviously being biggest European kind of clearer. We have a large percentage of the euro flows that as part of the SEPA regulations, we will really need to ramp up the infrastructure to deal with that. Expectation is that each channel, regardless how a client will interact with us, that the channels will need to be able to take instant payments and process them from capture all the way to clearing within 10 TPS, I think is the answer. So like doing that with an FX potentially embedded on it as well is another requirement. So to do that, your systems will need to be very robust and capable of processing large volumes of transactions very, very quickly. So that kind of processing power moving onto the cloud will help us to do that. So our use cases are more facilitating our clients actually bringing their ecosystems together. And I mentioned earlier the buyer supplier type of end consumers type of kind of model. I think in terms of the what are we facilitating then? I think the use cases are mainly linked to our new economy and our kind of fintech clients at the moment, where they're trying to diversify themselves or have a unique offering to their end clients, or facilitating their end client kind of demand side. So when we look at it, we look at their whole, we kind of brainstorm with our clients and actually look at their whole end-to-end ecosystem and look at who, and there's generally always two clients in our clients kind of journey as well, the buyer and the seller. So it's actually the benefit they need to provide to both ends of that end-to-end workflow. So we have examples where we're really doing a really interesting rollout, and we're doing it across the region at the moment with X Transfer as a fintech who's providing their merchants want to sell product globally. Their purchasers want to pay for it in local currency. And we're facilitating that kind of end-to-end flow at them at the moment, going into some of the restricted currencies here in APAC where it isn't easy to collect money and then move that money offshore or into another location, and that restricted nature of kind of those countries. So we're facilitating with a local collection on instant payments For example, in Thailand PromptPay or BI Fast, we're actually facilitating the collection of that money. The person needs to pay to the merchant that sits in China. So we're facilitating that collection. We're able to collect that money, then utilize our kind of end-to-end workflows, which are, embedded into the process, which is like auto documentation checking, and then auto conversion of the FX, the FX element, and moving that money then into Hong Kong, into our client's account, that then is facilitating a payout to their merchants.